Hi everyone, welcome to There Is More to Be Done podcast, hosted by me, Anam. I'm a psychology enthusiast since as long as I can remember. I really created this podcast because over the years I have been able to create a toolkit of a lot of different strategies that have helped me really change my life to what I wanted it to be. I work in the space of HR where I constantly talk to people who are struggling with lack of motivation, loss of hope, and sometimes just being stuck. Having experience of being there before, I've always been a person who wants to share the knowledge of what worked for me and how to make things simple, digestible, and easy to incorporate in our daily life. When I thought about starting this podcast, I right away knew what's the first topic I wanted to start with. So today I'm going to start with talking about how to be more self-aware and use the knowledge to leverage your opportunities. The way I see life right now is like a company. We have life cycles, different stages of growth, changes, and according to them, we set periodic goals for our life. There are different priorities at different stages of growth, and we need people around us to live the life in the best way possible. But because we have so many people around us and there's so much going on in life, we can really get distracted with everything that's around us. That's where we need to do review meetings with ourselves. I call them self-check-ins. It is the time when you sit with yourself with a journal, a recorder, a pen and a paper, whiteboard, whatever suits you, and just really reflect on your day, your actions, your progress. As humans, we're so good at avoiding unpleasant experiences that by default our brain just procrastinates or helps us completely ignore anything that's unpleasant or painful. If we are having a bad day, bad week, or a crisis situation, or we're simply just not feeling so great, we don't like spending time with ourselves. We don't like sitting and thinking about what's going on, what's working, what's not working. We simply just want to feel better. And so we go chase a high, distract ourselves, live life just as it is, go with the flow, so to speak. But how long can we go about it like that? When you don't take inventory of where you're going and what you're doing, you just keep living life and things keep happening to you. Not in the way that you want, not in the way that you have intended for your life, but really just things happen on their own pace and we get stuck going through the motions, one day at a time, rinse and repeat. That's where we get stuck in bad situations, bad relationships, bad jobs. Eventually, it reaches a point where one day we wake up and we listen to another person talking about their awesome work with passion or their great relationship, and we start to ask ourselves, how did they get what they want and why am I not there? We wonder, where did we go wrong? We end up realizing that we're in a situation where we're not happy, and that starts to bother us. That bleeds into our relationships, our friendships, our career, our life. Maybe you've been there before and overcome it. Maybe you've been there several times before and overcome it several times before. But have you thought about it if you'd have got it earlier and kept tabs on it? How much time and energy would it have saved you? And how far would you have been able to accomplish your goals? I have really thought about this, and I think that's where self-check-ins come in for me. In my blog, I talk about how the first step to change is self-awareness. Everything starts with it, because when you as a person sit down with yourself and figure out what is important to me, ask questions like, where am I going? What do I want from life? What are my priorities? What is my why statement? What is it that I want to leave a legacy of? What is the feeling that I want people to associate to me? When you answer these questions, that provides you with a baseline. And once you define a baseline, it becomes really simple and less daunting to sit down and do a quick self-check-in. Because now you know that this is what you prioritize in your life. So it becomes easy to ask, am I aligned with these values? If I'm not aligned, why am I not aligned? How can I be more aligned? And what are the steps that I want to take to change the direction? Am I happy with where I am? And if not, why is that? When you take this sort of an inventory of how you feel, your progress is inevitable. Because now, with your value systems clear, it helps to see where you need to divert your attention to. Just like how you go through grade school and you learn so many subjects, you have tests on these subjects, and writing these tests is what tells you how good or bad you are. That's what helps you learn where is it that you need to put more focus on, and what are the things that you naturally don't need to put any more effort into. Life is also structured like grade school, where there are so many different aspects: health, family, relationships. You want to show up for all of them. This is where the self check in really helps, because they help you reflect and identify where is it that you're not where you want to be, and focus your attention on that. Not keeping tabs on how you show up in these spaces regularly can end up in sometimes blindsiding you to one day realize that those small extra indulgences that you spent money on have now suddenly compounded in a credit card over limit. So, now that we know self check ins are important, how do we do those and stay consistent at it? What will encourage us to do the self check ins and not have it depress us, but make us feel better and refocus our energy? The way I created this habit was by keeping positive reinforcement questions in it. Having a self check in a format really helped with this, because if you're trying to focus on everything and you're like, okay, let's do a self check in, and you start writing things in random order, it's going to overwhelm you. But if you keep a format and if you keep a frequency, it's going to help you feel organized, structured, and really focus on the right things. Say that, every weekend or Friday or Monday, that's when you want to sit down and take 10 minutes to ask a couple of questions to yourself. So for me, I ask questions like, what is it that is important to me? What am I grateful for? What are the things that I want to focus on? Who are the people that helped me this week? Who is it that I could help this week? What boosted my confidence? You can either create your own questions, or nowadays there are several self-guided journals that are available in the market for even lower than $25. This will help you get started to build a habit, and then you can continue after that on your own. So some of the really nice journals that I came across was a gratitude journal, 5-minute journal, and reflection journals such as the high performance habit journal. These journals basically prompt you with questions, and answering these questions takes 5 minutes or 2 minutes. You can either, do it in the morning or at the end of the night. And what it really does, it gives you clarity and puts you in the habit of reflection. And once you are in the habit of reflection, it becomes easy to catch yourself from going too far off from your intended path. It's like having a fitness trainer who assesses you every week and knows when you have gone too far with your cheat meal. And then they make you sweat that little extra pounds that you've gained due to those cheat meals. Now, I know as humans, we don't want to do anything in a formal method or anything that seems like a chore. Because at the end of it, we don't want it to be like a forceful activity. Because if it's not something you like, you're not going to do it. It needs to feel great. And that's why I use reinforcements to get the habit more consistent. I've also got into a habit of doing daily reflections. And because I don't like theories and I don't want to, overthink it, I want to do what works and what's easy to get started with. So for my daily reflections, I use questions like, how am I feeling today? How was work? How do I feel about my friendships, my relationships? This would usually prompt me to talk about the things that were bothering me at work or within my daily interactions. And then I would go about breaking down into what happened. How did that make me feel? How did I react to that? Why do I think I reacted in that way? Could I have done anything better? What is the outcome that would have changed if I knew what I now know? I think breaking down situations like that really helps me decide the next question. That what do I want to focus on? What are my key takeaways? And identifying the takeaways helps me see where I need to focus on, or what is it that I have to learn to do if I don't already do it. Journaling like this on a daily basis and my weekly check-ins help me see and take a log of what is it that I need to put work into, and if it's the right time to put that work into right now. Because not all time is great time. Maybe next week I have a new project deadline that's coming up, or I'm behind on my paperwork, or I have too many birthdays coming up in the following week and I've still not done any birthday shopping. The goal is to really see how you're feeling and how your situations in life are affecting you where you are. Because a few months are bad. A few days, a few weeks can be bad. Everyone has those because life is life. Some days are great, some days are overwhelming, and some days are downright just awful. And if you had an awful week because of your work or because of something that happened that was very emotionally challenging in your personal life, then you need to take this week to take it easy and make self-care your priority. And then maybe your questions are going to be, what do I do this week to feel more relaxed? Do I spend time with myself? Do I want to talk things through with somebody? Think about what makes you energized. Maybe you're an introvert and you like to sit and read a book, or just spend time with yourself, painting, writing, whatever it is that you enjoy doing. Or maybe you're an extrovert and you like spending time with other people. And if that's the case, you now know that you have to reach out to your friends, make some great plans, plan some activities, or just reach out to them and see whether they have time to just hang out. And doing just that is going to energize you. This is your space. You know yourself more than anyone else in the world. Try everything, see what works for you, and figure out what is more enjoyable. Because this exercise, the self-check-in, is something that needs to be a part of your daily life. And you need to be consistent for it in order for it to contribute to your success. And the way that'll happen is if you don't think of it as a task, but enjoy the process. Enjoy the process of just being by yourself, enjoying the solitude. The more you do it, the better it'll start feeling eventually. Just like how all your meetings at your company you need to have, this also needs to be a regular thing. It has to have an agenda, which in this case is your questions. Be very focused on the things that you're talking about, that are bothering you, that are making you happy or upset. Be very honest, open, and vulnerable. Maybe you don't want to talk about few things at this time because they're very heavy. In that case, you don't need to force yourself to talk about it that very day. Select some other day. Like in your company meetings, some issues need more time. And if you don't have the time today, you postpone it. Or if something has come up and you can't do it today, you postpone it, right? It doesn't have to happen on a date written in stone. It doesn't have to happen on the frequency that you have decided if it's too much for you to think and reflect about. You do it when you feel ready, and when you feel like you're at a point where you're ready to talk about it. Be kind to yourself when you're building these habits. If you're not able to do it, if you're not able to stick to it, if you know for some reason it's really overwhelming, take baby steps. You don't need to jump into anything full on if you're not ready for it. You can start by asking just 3 questions. Simple questions like, how am I feeling? What's the best thing that happened? What's the worst thing that happened today? And then slowly you'll get to a point where you become comfortable. And then you're ready to get into it a little more. Once you start becoming comfortable, that's when you can go all in. As humans, we are a creature of habit, and practice makes you perfect. The more you do things, the more familiar it feels. And the more you get a habit of doing it, it becomes a part of your muscle memory. You automatically get used to doing it, and it becomes second nature for you. When you consistently do self check ins, you'll see a change in how you achieve your results. Because when you take something and put your entire focus on the one thing, it's very unlikely that things won't work out in your favor. It'll not happen immediately, it'll not happen overnight, it'll not happen over a month, even sometimes. But you have to stay consistent. Consistency is the key here if you want to build a habit. Usually, 98% of the time, you'll really notice a shift in your life because it's unlikely that you focus all your attention on doing something and that doesn't work. If you're organized in the way you approach things, the right resources come to you and you're able to map out action items. It becomes easy to look at things as solvable puzzles instead of these life ending, earth shattering moments. I hope you enjoyed listening to this episode today and found it helpful. If you did find it helpful or you think it'll help somebody you care about, please like and share the episode. Feel free to let me know if you have any comments or questions regarding this topic. I'll be more than happy to answer you. Thank you so much for choosing to invest your time in your growth and development. For more content, you can follow me on TikTok and Instagram at There's More to Be Done or visit my blog at there'smoretobedone.blog. Links are in the episode description below. This is Anam, and I'll see you in 2 weeks. Keep learning, keep growing.